Hello everyone, myself Dr. S. MOHAMED NAZEER. This class I am going to teach you microeconomics. In microeconomics, rent. In the ordinary language, rent is the price or reward or remuneration given for the use of land or a house or a machine to the owner. But in economics, rent or economic rent refers to that part of the payment made by the tenant to his landlord for the use of his land. And that is to say, free gift of nature only. See, rent is nothing but if you are using the land, for using that land, using the building, using the machine, we are giving rent to the owner of the machine or land or anything. But in economics, economic rent refers to that part of the payment made by the tenant to his landlords for the use of his land. That is free gift of nature only. Free gift of nature only. We are giving rent to the landlord. Why? Because of the free gift of nature only. That is rent in economics. Definition. According to Marshall, the income derived from the ownership of land and other free gift of nature is commonly called rent. David Ricardo defined rent as that portion of the produce of the earth which is paid to the landlord for the use of the original and indestructible power of the soil. Okay, this is the David Ricardo definition. Now, kinds of rent. Economic rent and contract rent. So simple. We are using the land for the purpose of using the land. We are producing commodity. Okay. So we are using the land. For that we are giving rent to the owner is called economic rent. We are using the building, fences, drainage, well, etc. For that also the tenant agriculture is giving rent to the landlord. That is called contract rent. In detail, the payment made by the agriculturist tenant to his landlord need not be equal to economic rent. A part of this payment may consist of interest on capital invested in the land by the landlord in the form of building, fences, drainage, well, etc. The part of payment which is made the use of land only is economic rent. The part of payment which is made for the use of land is only economic rent. But the total amount consists payment for the use of land, interest on capital invested in land by the landlord in the form of building, fences, drainage, well, etc. Paid by the tenant to the landlord is called a contract rent. Now, situation rent. Rent not only depends upon differences in the fertility of the land, but also differences in the situation of the land. Some land enjoys the situational advantages. For example, some lands are situated very near to the market, okay, which may help to save a lot of transport cost. Even if all lands are equally fertile, lands possessing situational advantage command some superiority over the lands. Thus, rent arises on account of situation is called situation rent. Now, scarcity rent. Rent not only depends upon differences in fertility and situation of land, but also the scarcity of land in relation to demand. If population increases, the demand for land also increases. Therefore, the no rent land is also subjected to intensive cultivation and yield a surplus over cost. This surplus is rent. This rent arises because of scarcity of land, and hence it is called a scarcity rent. Scarcity rent, situation rent, economic rent, and contract rent are the kinds or types of rent. Now I am going to teach you the Ricardian theory of rent or the classical theory of rent. According to Ricardo, rent is that portion of the produce of the earth which is paid to the landlord for the use of the original and indestructible powers of the soil. This is the definition of rent. Now, how does rent arise? Ricardo explained the emergence of rent with the help of an illustration. Suppose some people go to the newly discovered island and settle down there. There are three grades of land, namely A, B and C in that island. A being the most fertile land, B is less fertile and C is least fertile land. Okay. They will cultivate almost fertile land, that is the A grade land they will cultivate. Since the land is abundant and idle, there may be no need to pay rent as long as the best land are freely available. Given the certain amount of labor and capital, the yield per acre on A grade land is 40 bags of corns. Suppose another batch of people goes and settle down in the same island after some time. Therefore, population increases. Hence, the demand for agricultural produce will increase. The most fertile land, A grade land, alone cannot produce all the food grains that are needed on account of the operation of law of diminishing returns. So, because of increase in the population, the A grade land only cannot produce all the production. So, it will operate the law of diminishing returns. What is law of diminishing return? Continuously we are producing in the particular land, the fertility will decrease. So, the production will be decreased. So, the less fertile land, the B grade land will have to be brought under cultivation in order to meet the needs of the growing population. For the same amount of labor and capital employed in the A grade, the same amount of capital and labor also used here, and the yield per acre B grade land is 30 bags of corn. So, A grade land produced 40 bags. The B grade land produced 30 bags of corn. The surplus of 10 bags, 40 minus 30 per acre, appears on A grade land. This is economic rent of A grade land. Okay, this is economic rent of A grade land. Suppose another batch of people goes and settle down in the same island. Therefore, the population increases still further, so that the least fertile land, C grade land, will have to be brought under cultivation. For the same amount of labor and capital, the yield per acre on C grade land is 25 bags of corn. The surplus of A grade land is now raised to 15 bags. So 40 minus 25, 15. And it is economic rent of the A grade land. The surplus of B grade land is 5 bags. 30 minus 25. This is called the economic rent of B grade land. In the above illustration, in C grade land, the cost of production is just equals to price of it produced, and therefore the C grade land does not yield any rent. Hence, C grade land is called no rent land or marginal land. Okay, therefore no rent land or marginal land is the land in which cost of production is just equals to its price of its produce. The land which yield rent is called intra-marginal land. Therefore, rent indicates the differential advantage of the superior land over the marginal land. See, the A grade land can produce 40 bags of corns. The B grade land can produce 30 bags of corn. The C grade land can produce 25 bags of corn. So 40 minus 25, 15. So A grade land is more fertile land. It has the economic rent of 15 bags of corn. B grade, compared to B grade and C grade, 30 minus 25, 5. That 5 is the what? the surplus. Okay, surplus of B grade land. That is the economic rent of B grade land. Here the C grade land only produced the 25 bags of corn. That is equals to its price of its produce. Okay, this illustration can be explained with the help of table and diagram. This table shows the Ricardian theory of rent. This is the grades of land: A grade, B grade, C grade. The production 40, 30, 25. The surplus 20 to 40 minus 25, 15. So it is a surplus rent in bags, 15 bags. So 30 minus 25, 5. The last grade, C grade land is producing 25 minus 25. There is no rent for that land. This diagram explains the Ricardian theory of rent. X-axis represents various grades of land and y-axis represents yield per acre in bags. OA, AB, BC are the A grade, B grade, C grade lands respectively. The application of equal amount of labor and capital on each of them given yield represented by the rectangle standing just above the respective bases. The C grade land is the no rent land. The C grade land is the no rent land. A and B grade land are the intra-marginal lands. The economic rent by A and B grade lands is equal to the shaded area of their respective rectangles. Look here in this diagram, the C grade land is producing 25 bags of corns. The B grade land is producing 30 bags of land. So 30 minus 25, 5 is the economic rent for B grade land. See, the A grade land is producing 40 bags of corn. So 40 minus 25, 15. So the 15 is the economic rent for A grade land compared to C. If compared to B, okay, compared to B, 40 minus 30 is 10. So 10 is economic rent for A respective to B compared to the B land. So the higher fertile land is getting the higher land. Low fertile land is not getting rent. This theory is based on assumptions. The first assumption is that the land differs in fertility. Some lands are more fertile than others. This theory is based on the assumption that the law of diminishing return operates in agriculture. I already explained to you. When we are producing producing again and again the same land, the law of diminishing, what we can say, the productivity will comes down. That law of diminishing returns operates. So this is the assumption of this theory. The record assumes that rent depends upon two main qualities of the land, namely fertility and location. So rent is based on two things, fertility and location. If the land is have more fertility, more rent. Best location, more rent. Okay. This theory assumes perfect competition. Large number of sellers, large number of buyers, buying selling homogeneous product. Okay. Homogeneous. This theory also assumes that rent is not a part of the cost of production and therefore rent does not enter into the price. So here they are assuming rent is not a part of cost of production and therefore rent does not enter into the price. This is one of the assumptions of this theory. This theory based upon assumption of a long period. This theory ignores the short period. So this theory assumption is based on long period. This theory assumes the existence of the marginal land and no rent land. Okay. Record also assumes that land has certain original and indestructible powers. Land has a original and indestructible powers. This theory also assumes that land is used for cultivation only. That is, alternatives of land have been ignored. The last assumption, most fertile land are cultivated first. So these are the assumptions of this theory. Thank you.